This is Arts and Crafts with Luba Carlson, and this is part 2 of Sunny Aspens. In the first part, we worked on the sketch, and then we created the background, added some background branches, and started painting our trees. We also mixed up some paint for that. And the colors that we're using are white, chrome yellow, deep yellow, phthalo red, cobalt blue, green oxide, and black. And I'm mostly using flat brushes for this project. It's a 3/4 brush, and then I think this is a size 4 and this is a size 2. They're just regular flat brushes. Okay, we have some water, paper towels, and all of that, and I already have my color pre-mixed, and this is what we were working on. We were working on this tree trunk, and so I noticed when it started drying that I kind of missed over here my sketch lines, so I'm just gonna go back and fix that the best I can, just to make sure that my tree looks the way I wanted it to look in the first place, and then we'll continue painting the next tree trunk. So if you're ready with that, you are more than welcome to keep painting the tree trunk. So now the next tree trunk, we're kind of trying to grab the ones that are behind the others first. So this one over here goes behind this big one. Okay, so this is what I'm going to work on next. I'm putting my brush, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe not. I'm putting my brush right here on the line where the trunks cross, and then I am following the tree. I'm just following that line, and I'm turning my brush to make sure that my lines are not too big for this, okay? When you're painting with acrylics, you really do not want to allow your paint maybe go past half of the brush unless you're using a whole lot of paint for texture. Because once it starts going here, then it becomes really hard to clean it up, and it also kind of makes very messy lines. So I noticed that for me, it's much easier to keep that part of the brush clean and just put my paint on the first half, the bottom half of the bristles. So we go. It also depends, you know, if you're looking at the brush upside down, so it's half bottom, but if it's up, then it's a half up. Whichever way we look at it, it works. Now, hopping over the trunk, finding the spot where they meet, right here. Okay, and again, turning my brush to make sure I fit very well within the trunk. And I just paint all the way down. And I'm afraid I lost my sketch line somewhere here, and that's okay. So my tree is growing through here, here, and it must become wider, so I'll just paint right over that little branches bush that I painted earlier. It's quite all right. It will just sit behind my tree. So making sure I fill it all right. My main purpose here is to kind of cover up all that yellow so that the trees really stand out. All right, now we're ready for, oh, I found my line, hold on. Never mind, here's my line. There we go. Kind of missed that. Let's do that. Don't worry about it, just keep painting, okay? And here is a little trick for everybody. If you have baby wipes, it works the best. If you, by mistake, created a line somewhere, and if your background is dry by that time, you can just take the baby wipe and wipe it off. Okay, so it's really not a big deal if a little bit of mess happened. Now let's paint this tree right here. It's a big one. I love big trees. Who doesn't love big trees? Okay, making sure that I'm all the way to the bottom. Okay, it's too easy to miss. And just going up and down the trunk. Just kind of outlining my shape, the shape of the tree I created. Going back. And then sometimes it's easier to go like this. Just outline the shape on the other side. Just using the edge of your brush or the end of your brush. Here we go. All right, here's why it's important to keep the right direction for your tree trunks as you paint them. The strokes show direction of the tree as it's growing. So really, the way you put those strokes in helps somebody who's looking at your painting know where this tree is going, okay? So this is kind of missed, so I'm gonna fix that a little bit. And I have one more left, and I almost have no paint left, so I'm gonna mix some more. Okay, real quick, just a touch. Let's see, was that touch enough? Not really. Scrape it off a little bit. Okay, I think this is close enough. I can just put it right on here. Well, let's do a little bit more. I'm not even rinsing my brush right now because I know that I'm not gonna really need any more of this purple. So it doesn't really matter that it got a little bit contaminated with white. It is fine. Okay, this is good. Even if it's a little bit lighter, it's still good. Going through here. From the top, follow the trunk, pretty much the same thing. All right, so this is the first coat for our tree trunks, and you can see how there's a lot of yellow shining through here. So we're gonna need to do the second coat, and for the second coat, I'm gonna grab some more white in the same, very same well, and I'm gonna do just a tiny bit of purple. I wanna go lighter now, okay? So just a little bit. We're just making a very, very super light tint. There we are. Okay, let me make the swatch right here so you can see the difference. See how much lighter this is? Okay, and then we just do the same thing. We go back. This should go a little bit easier now that there is some paint on the canvas. And it's also dried, so that should go a little bit easier. If you feel that your paint is kind of sticky as you paint and it's kind of dragging, just use a hair blower or just let it sit for like 20 minutes and let it dry before doing the next step. Why we're doing purple color is actually because we want to create some contrast in colors, because yellow is very warm and we really want our trees to stand out. So we want to give them like a little bit of cooler undercolor so they stand out better for us. Just keep going, and you know what, if your trees become a little bit wider as you're doing this, no big deal. They are trees. They can be whatever they want. Okay, doing that. Just come back to it. And then right here, just take it down. All right, this one. We're kind of getting there. It's starting to look better, right? Not like ghost trees, like purple ghost trees. Now they are starting to look a little bit better, and that's good. Okay, last tree. Okay, here we are. Oh. All right, clean the brush. And for the next step, we really need our tree trunks dry. So I'm just gonna grab my heating tool real quick and give it a little bit of a dry fast. Okay, I'm gonna switch to higher speed. All right. Whoop. All right. So a thing to know when you're drying your acrylic paints, whatever tool you're using, try not to use the hottest setting. Give it time to dry. And also keep your tool around, keep moving around real fast, because you really do not want your acrylic paints to bake, and then, you know, it's a whole different story. And sometimes when your canvas is super, super wet, what makes sense is to go on the back and just dry from the back side. It also helps sometimes. All right, so next step is going to be we're gonna add some warm yellow highlights to the tree. And we can think about it as where the light is coming from. So if my light is coming from the left, then I'll be adding a little bit of highlights on the left side of my tree trunks. Okay, if it's coming from the right, then respectively from the right. Sometimes the light comes straight from the background, straight from the back. And in that case, we would add some highlights on both sides, but like be very careful with how much you put on. Okay, so to do the highlights, we will use white, kind of a lot of white, and then we'll use some warm yellow or deep yellow. So I'm just gonna grab just a little bit. We really do not need it to look yellow. It's just a hint of color. So let's do that. Let's make sure that we have a nice color. And we needed to dry the trees because we're gonna put yellow on top of purple. And if the trees are not dry, the paint would just mix and blend, and we would get like a very unpleasant version of purple. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more yellow to this. Still working with deep yellow because we want a warm highlight. Okay, the warm highlight will also contrast with the cool tree tone. Okay, so I'm wiping off my brush, which I didn't do last time, but that's okay. Going back, and I think I'm gonna do my highlights as if the sun is coming from the left side. So I'm just gonna put them on the left side of the tree. This is a whole lot of paint, so I wanna go back to my paper towel and just take it off a little bit. I do not wanna create a blob. And I'm gonna carefully go up and down the trunk and very lightly apply. See what's happening? That is so cool. Okay, and then go meet the lines of the trunk. But as long as we can see some light happening, and it is happening, we can just leave that and then move on to the other. The trick here is to make sure that your highlights do not end up being in a straight line on the other side. So it doesn't look like somebody took a ruler and just painted a straight line down. Yeah, doesn't make sense, doesn't look organic. Also, what I'm doing, my strokes are not directly straight. They're not just horizontal. They're like a little bit bent like this, okay? I'm just doing it real fast and blending that color in, going back and forth. Maybe some areas will have a little bit more color. Maybe some areas will be a little bit lighter or darker. It's good. All right, here we go. And it also makes sense that there is more light on the top of the tree and less light next to the trunk and next to the roots. Okay, let's do this one right here. So make them some short, some longer, some just jumping around, just like that. Okay, your trunk may be blending in with the background a little bit, and that's okay. The color will dry, the paint will dry lighter than it actually is, and we'll still be able to see. We'll still see your tree trunk. Okay, let's go to this one. just kind of try to roughly follow the rule of keeping to the left side of the trunk. And just keep going. Okay, now this big boy. And this one left. Right here. All right. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna grab some more white in my white well right here. Just wipe off your brush on your paper towel. It doesn't need a cleaning. Okay, dip in the white, and now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're going from the other side. So now we're gonna add white. Very light hand, coming in from the left. We're not really trying to make the tree look white. We're just trying to add whiteness to the tree. Okay, and keep going with like rounded strokes. Then maybe go back and fix the line next to your blending on the trunk. Just go back and fix that. And here. Okay, we do not want to overpower this with white. We just want to add some. I might need extra 5 minutes. Is that okay? Thank you. Because I know you don't really need to show every tree as I'm painting it. All right, so we keep going. We keep going right here. Here's this tree right here. So if you feel like maybe you're painting too slowly, don't worry about it and take your time. This really takes time. So little details, but it's important to do them right and make sure that you're blending your color in with the tree. Okay, so I'm going to show you on this one what it would look like if you're not blending, and then I'll blend it in. You will just come through here and you just put blobs like that. Yeah, this is not what we want. We want to come back and use the light brush as we can. Just lighten up and just move it around. Maybe move your brush a little bit, turn it, do what works, okay? But we really do not want to do that. Okay, same brush, a little bit more blending. Yellow, lemon yellow, or chrome yellow, same brush, and just in a few spots of the tree coming from the left side. Just a couple, like here, here, and maybe here, and then brush it off, and then blend in that color. Help it become bright. And then around on the trunk, okay, a little bit more chrome yellow. We don't want it everywhere, we just want a few spots. You see how it's making our trees brighter? Maybe some here. Oh, that was a lot of paint. I'm gonna have to come back to that. And maybe a little bit here. Okay, wipe off the brush. Took it off, wipe off the brush, and now blend it in. And then go up a little. Wipe off the brush if it's too much paint. And just bring it in. Okay. Maybe here. A little bit here. Just keep moving the brush, kind of let your brush dance a little bit. Don't be so concerned about control here. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're putting color on, and move. If you have too much control, move to the wrong side of the brush. Okay, the farther you're in from the end of the brush, the easier it will go for you to put like loose strokes. Okay, one more. All right, so it really looks like the sun is playing with trunks. That's lovely. I love that. Okay, clean this one. And we're gonna create black marks on the trees. So I'm grabbing my black. You're not gonna need a whole lot of it. So maybe like this much. And it's your comfort here, either this brush or that brush, the size 4 or size 2. I'm gonna stick with size 4, and I am just dipping the bristles, just the tip of the brush into the black paint. Okay. Oh, there's a hair sticking out. Can I pull it? Nope. Okay. And then we're gonna go, I'm gonna do this one first so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm holding the brush almost flat to the canvas, and I'm just gonna rub in random patterns, okay? Now, it is quite normal for a human being to try and space them evenly. Like even you can see it over here. That doesn't really make sense for nature. So try and make some close, some farther away, kind of move a little bit, some going all the way across. See, I'm doing this again. It kind of takes a little bit of mindfulness here to remember, yeah? Just don't put the same distance in between. So maybe here. And then your brush gets less paint, yeah, because you're using some. And so some marks are gonna be lighter, and that's great. Something like that. Just some random marks for the trees, okay? So now that you know what we're doing, you can go back to all the trees And I'm regretting my decision for using this brush because some trees are really small. So I'm just going to be working with both at the same time because this tree is really small at the top. So I think maybe here. Okay. And just keep going, okay? Just keep going. I'm really trying not to turn this into a ruler, so with like every inch mark, you know. Okay, here we go. Maybe lower, we'll make a heavy one. They just need to have some color on them. Even just like a little bit of almost dry brush will work. Okay, I'm gonna do darker markings here. Okay, and when my brush is almost dry, now I'm gonna go up to the top and just give it some lighter markings right here. Okay, looks good. Whoops, that was heavy. Clean this up a little. It was really heavy, but that's okay. Maybe okay, one last tree. Now, this one is a big tree, so most markings are on that side. They are on that side, so kind of I'm gonna try and account for that. So some markings will come from here and maybe something big. I'll allow it coming from here. Okay. All right. Here we are. Yeah. Okay, clean your brush and the other one too if you used it. Okay, I'm gonna use number 4 here and we're gonna finish the highlights for the tree. A little bit of white paint just on the tips. Just on the tips, a little bit. Go to the left side where the light is hitting it and just very gently outline with that white paint. It doesn't need to show super white, but it will show just enough light. And then this one here. It will bring it up and close. Okay, get some more paint. All right, and here. Okay, clean. And now I'm going to use this brush and I'm just going to add some leaves on the branches that we put here so that they're not just bare branches, okay? So we're going to kind of move in between our chrome yellow and deep yellow, all right? So I'm starting with chrome yellow, just get it on my brush, and then I'm going to put my brush using the corner down on the branches like this and lift it up. And so what this does, it's creating teeny tiny leaves. And then go up on the other brush, okay? And then not cleaning the brush, I'm just gonna jump in between the two yellows and see that maybe, oops, wrong color. I think I need a little bit more color in here so that it shows better. And don't be super careful, just go right over these branches. Just put the color on them. They don't really need to show like very realistic tree leaves. Just shows that there's something growing. So I'm kind of going fast with this. If we want a little bit more coverage for our leaves so that things do not really visible, then we would need to add a whole lot of white in our paint. So if you want to do that, you can. So see how some of them leave a lot of paint on there, and I just love that because it kind of adds a little bit of texture to what we're doing. And maybe this tree has huge leaves, so we'll make them bigger. Just so good. And if you want to add maybe brighter orange, if that's something that you like, you can always use that phthalo red and mix it with either of yellows. They will give you different shades of orange for your leaves. See how this fills up nicely? Maybe a little bit of white. I'm gonna grab a little bit of white with my yellow here to help with visibility. There we go. Just to have the textures. That's too light. And see, the closer I'm coming to the foreground, I'm making those leaves a little bit bigger because they are closer to us, so that makes sense. Here, the leaves are overlapping the tree. That's wonderful. Let it happen. If that's happening, that's wonderful. So yes, I'm just jumping between the two yellows and that tiny, like the yellow tint that we created for the highlight for the trees. All right, I think I have just one more spot right here. And I'm going to make sure that it goes into the tree a little bit. So that, there we are. Okay, quick check. Are we done? I think so. All right. Okay, let's fix this one so it doesn't drip. All right. And so this is the Sunny Aspens. I hope you enjoyed this painting. I would love to hear back from you, and I'll see you next time.